Hello everyone, welcome to my capstone pitch for The Revenge of Vlad 3D. The Revenge of Vlad 3D will take everything I have learned from my previous projects and apply it to the third dimension, giving the player full reign to destroy a large 3D city environment while also implementing some Vampire Survivor upgrade mechanics. I'm of course influenced from my original Revenge of Vlad games, while also being influenced from some smaller indie titles such as Red Horan and Haikaiju. The inspiration for my first game is pretty obvious, as it takes the Mecha Vlad character and applies it to the third dimension. While Red Horan, that is a open source Godot project as seen here, that I was able to get a look inside the code, and I will be taking lots of inspiration from how it kind of does things, how it handles certain mechanics such as destruction and parts of the player controller. While Haikaiju was a game jam game that takes a lot of inspiration from Vampire Survivors and applies that leveling and upgrading mechanic to the 3D kaiju city destroying genre. Being a follow-up to my last Revenge of Vlad game, the story could take a few different directions. At the end of that game, Mecha Vlad goes off into space on a rocket ship. I could either have him crash land back on Earth on a different city, or he could crash land on an alien city out in space. I'm unsure of which direction to go into, so I would appreciate some feedback here. The game loop will entail smashing buildings and enemies. Everything destroyed will add to the player's level meter, making them bigger and stronger. So the game is all about destroying everything and continually getting bigger. The level will end once the city is destroyed, or if Mecha Vlad is killed by the army. Some key mechanics include the player controller, which gives the player full control over their 3D character so they can walk around, and they will have at least 2 melee attacks with a possible range attack depending on the time. Destruction will be pretty simple, punching a building until its health reaches 0, and it will sink into the floor and spawn a piece of rubble. I will try my hand at making it a bit more immersive with shaking and smoky particle effects. Everything the player destroys increases their leveling bar. Once filled, the player will become a bit bigger and stronger, and it will refill some of their health, while the health bar goes back to 0 to be filled again. In this example here, the purple bar, which is partially filled, is the leveling bar. For enemies in combat, enemies will start spawning on the player at a consistent rate. If the player ignores them, they will become overwhelmed, so the player has to balance fighting the enemies and destroying the city. Also, enemies will be filling the player's leveling meter as well as buildings. The player will be able to walk over tanks to destroy them, but they have to punch helicopters and other flying enemies. There will also be an area of effect attack, which will be effective against pretty much everyone. For art and sound, the game will feature a low-poly art style with simplistic textures. As I'm not a very experienced 3D artist, so it will not be the biggest highlight of the game. Sounds will be from sfxer.me to keep them in line with the previous Revenge of Vlad games, giving it an arcadey feel. And that will be my capstone project this year. Thank you for watching.